Okay, we're going to paint a figure now with watercolor. I'm going to do this one. This is just my starting point, so I'm not going to follow this slavishly. The top part is see-through, there's a few layers and there's some glitter. So here are my colors. So I've got a yellow, a bit of orange and magenta. So I'm probably only going to use the blue, the magenta, the yellow and the orange. So I'm going to find a flesh tone to start with. I'm going to mix the flesh tone in here. So when you're mixing a subtle color, it's really important, or when you're mixing a light color with a darker color, in this case the orange. So the flesh tone is a very pale orange. So it's important that you add the darker color to the lighter color. So I'm mixing it in here, and I'm just adding small amounts of the orange. See, that's probably enough already. If you start off with orange, you could add half a tube of yellow to it until you get it pale enough to your liking. So just drawing just very subtle. And I'm drawing, although she's got the top part of her top is see-through, I'm drawing her body as if there was no clothing on it. When you're doing see-through, you just behave as if there's nothing, there's no garment on top of it. Now when I'm colouring in the arms, I'm not being too worried about going up to the outline. It's quite nice if you stop short of your pencil outline, because I'm going to erase it afterwards, erase the outline. Okay, now while I'm here, I'm going to put some, just some slightly stronger colours in some areas. So on a bit of the shoulder. So while it's still wet, I'm just putting just some warmer colours just to give it a glow. Now that's going to diffuse. You see it's starting to really diffuse there already, so that's quite nice. So I'm just going to blot it away. There we go, that's better. So don't be afraid to use your tissue paper like you would an eraser. Okay, let's do these legs. So the legs are, so the bottom part of her skirt I'm drawing as if it's see-through. And again, I'm not worrying too much about colouring in up to the outline. The main thing I'm worrying about is keeping this colour wet so that I can get some of the orange in there, so get a bit of kind of tone happening. So this leg is behind, so I'm kind of putting this sort of this reddish colour all over it. Okay, here we go. A little bit there. I'm not putting shading on wherever the clothing is under the see-through bit. Now where it's dried here, I might just go in and just put another just delicate little bit of shading. And a little bit more in there. Just sort of firming up my tonal values a bit there. So the light's coming from here, so we've got a bit of a shadow on this side of the nose. Okay, and then we've got a nice highlight there. And when I erase these pencil lines, these highlights will work even better. Let's go a little bit stronger on the fingers, quite like that. And I might put a little bit more on this knee, just because knees tend to be a bit redder than this knee here. A little bit more tone there, and I'll just put a little bit more tone on her cheek, and maybe on the lips. As always, the challenge is to get the right amount of liquid with the right amount of pigment. So it takes a bit of practice. Okay, I'm using a fairly light colour of blue. I'm going to add a bit of dark later on. So I'm going to kind of go down here. So this is some ultramarine I'm mixing in with here. So, you know, you're always looking for an opportunity to add more than one color together. Right, so let's give her just a bit more. Okay, that's better. And then some of this. And then I'm going to just go over where I want it to look like it's see-through. So I'm going to just put some mad bits of blue down here. I'm basically just putting a load of blue down here because I want kind of something interesting to happen here. There, I quite like that. I quite like the way it's just gone outside of the skirt area. I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow. So thinking about where the light is coming from. The light's coming from here, so there's going to be a highlight here and here. And it's going to be darker on this side. A little bit shadow under there. So I've just got plain water on my brush, so I'm just softening that edge on the light side, but I'm going to keep the harder edge on the dark side. So let's just put a little bit of softness in there. And I'm keeping some hard bits, but I want some soft edges as well. I don't want it all to be a hard edge all the way around. So I really like what's happening here. This has got just enough of a tone on it. Let's just add a little bit there, and just a tiny bit here, just to help it look like it's a material that's in front of her flesh. I'm not going to do a lot more for this dress, but it does have some kind of fluting. So when this is a bit drier, I'm going to add some darker details. I'm just going to put a little bit here. Just flare it out a little bit. There you go, that's nice. The tears, 1, 2, and there's another one here. And then I want to do a few kind of these little flicky bits. And some of these I'm just going to soften a bit. Okay, I'm just going to use the same kind of blue. So my highlight is on the light side of the figure. But please, if you use black with watercolor, you're going to completely kill any of this beautiful subtle stuff that you've got happening anyway. So let's do the same on the sleeve. And I'm trying to be kind of regular but random at the same time here, if that makes sense. Now I can control the actual outline here with color pencil. So I'm going to put a color pencil outline on top of this. So that's all the painting. I've now just got to wait for it to dry a little before I put the colored pencil on. Okay, this is dried now. So I'm going to put some detail on with some color pencil. Let's see if we can fix this. Give her some nice red lips, and I'm going to give her a bit of red here. So a bit of colour on the cheek, colour on the neck. I'm just going to try some blue. So don't be afraid to use different colours. I quite like the fact that I've got some blue and some red. You know what I should have done? What I meant to do was actually erase. So let's erase some of these lines. the figure looks more articulated now. I'm kind of wishing I'd left a bit of white in there, but that's okay. What I might do is just tighten up these tiers just in a couple of places. I've lost the outline there, so I might draw a little bit of the outline back in, and maybe just a couple of these. Leave that there because I really like that. There's a top with straps. I'll just draw those in and just hold the edge of her sleeve just a little bit. And maybe the same here, just a tiny bit. I think I need to hold some of that shoulder. Yeah, that's quite nice. And I'm going to do a little bit of shoulder, but in different color on this side. So I quite like the way I've used red there and blue and red and blue. And here, let's give us some nails. And I might just give her a little bit of definition on the top of the wrist, I think. So don't overdo it. I'm just going to leave that arm, I think, completely. You know what, I might just beef it up a little bit with, put a little bit of shadow on the flesh tones just to show that it's being overlapped by the garment. And the same here, just a little bit of shading. Blue on the inside. I need some blue on this leg. This is all very warm, and everywhere else we've got a mixture of warm and cool. We've got blue and red together. We've got the yellow flesh colors with the blue. Here we've just got the flesh color, so I need some blue in here to help it all kind of belong to each other. So I'm just going to have a little bit of blue on the inside, quite like that, give it a little bit more shape there. And I'm just going to help this along a little bit and maybe give her a bit of an ankle and a bit of a blue ankle on that side. Okay, I think we're done. I like the highlights here. I like the change from blue outline to white to red outline, and I like the white space that's creeping in from the background. I like the way this is a bit random. The see-through thing is working quite well.